Good afternoon, friends. Welcome to my, well, I was gonna say kitchen, but we are out in my orchard this morning, afternoon. I think it's like 12 right now. Today's goal is a big, hefty goal. We're gonna start processing this year's apple harvest. Last year we had a very, very late frost and we did not get any apples. So I did not put up any apple anything last year because we didn't get any. And I think I have 3 pints of applesauce left on my pantry shelf, 1/2 pint of apple butter. And so today's the day we're gonna get applesauce, apple butter, apple hand pies, turnovers, apple Pop-Tarts, whatever you wanna call them, in the freezer. Now we're not gonna get all the apples processed today, but we're gonna get a good chunk started today. These apples are incredibly delicious, as my son likes to say, because we come out here when we're hanging out outside, and he likes to say they're super, super sweet as he eats them. And so we've been eating a lot of fresh apples. I've had some friends and family come and already pick apples. And so this is the day we're actually gonna start turning them into some delicious stuff. Now, these are totally organic. I have not sprayed them. I have not done anything with them. So there are quite a few that are pretty bug damaged, and those we will just leave for the deers to eat. These are very, very ripe. So when we get inside, before we start turning them into things, we'll have to check each one and cut each one open, because we'll have to cut away some bad spots. We have 3 different apple trees, and what I have found that makes the best applesauce is to mix and match apples. So I have apples from 2 different trees here. Let's go get some apples from another tree. This is a Bartlett pear tree, and I didn't think we were gonna get any pears this year, but I've got some beautiful pears here. Oh no, hopefully I didn't bruise that. These don't look like they have any bug damage on them. The pear tree at our last property did so well. And dehydrated pears are one of my absolute favorite things. Oh, that one's pretty damaged. That one will go to the chickens. But it looks like I got 5 pears here. Oh, maybe 6. Ah! I see one more up here. These are not ripe yet, but I can bring these inside and have them ripen inside. I'm excited about that. We're gonna go inside and start with this basket. We'll need to come out and harvest some more, but we're gonna start with this. I would say this is a pretty beautiful basket of apples and pears for the first basket. I'm thinking we're probably gonna need 1 or 2 more baskets before today is done, but we're gonna get started with that. So like I said, we're gonna do apple butter. I am going to use my favorite canning cookbook here. This is the Complete Book of Home Preservation. I've had this book since I started canning. My mom got it for me for my birthday, probably 8 or 9 years ago. And we are going to make the sweet apple cider butter, which calls for 6 pounds of apples peeled and quartered. So that's what I was wondering, if I needed to wash these, peel them, and then weigh them, which I do. We are also gonna make applesauce on page 180. And for 1 recipe of the apple butter, that's gonna get me 8 half pints, which is probably enough. Should we double it? I don't know, we'll see. And for the applesauce, I need 12 pounds of apples that are peeled, quartered, and cored. And that will make, 12 pounds will make about 8 pints, which makes sense because that's twice as much as the apple butter recipe. So these need to be peeled and quartered. So what we need to do first, and then we're also gonna make apple turnovers, and those are gonna go into the freezer. I wanna have, or you could call them apple hand pies, apple Pop-Tarts, whatever you wanna call them. And I'm gonna make those up and put those in the freezer for a really easy dessert or breakfast or something like that. So basically what we need to do is start washing, peeling, and chopping these apples. I have done only one thing really to prepare for today. Last night, I ran a bunch of jars through the dishwasher. I made sure I had all my ingredients, and that's all I've done. So you and I are going to go from harvest to getting all of these apples washed and hopefully into these jars, ready to go on my pantry shelf, and the apple hand pies ready to go into the freezer today. Because I have all my jars sitting over there, I'm gonna put my basket over here. I did scrub out my sink, knowing that we were gonna be probably just throwing some apples into the sink today. So I'm going to just start washing these. These apples were ones that I carried in my apron. When I was coming inside, I saw these apples and I just couldn't leave them out there. So we've got one big basket full of apples, and now we have a sink full of apples here. I'm gonna give each apple a good little scrub. So the pears, I'm just gonna put on my counter here, and I'm gonna let these start to ripen. There was one of them that had a chunk taken out of it. That one obviously won't ripen. And when I find that one again, I'll just give that one to the chickens. It's okay if these apples get a little bruised because we're gonna turn them into sauce and butter and all the things. 2 years ago, I put up a ton of applesauce, which was good because I think, like I said, I think we have 3 pints left. And last year I didn't put up any, but right now we go through a lot more applesauce than we used to. So I think what I would like to do is try to get 24 pounds of applesauce started. That's gonna be my priority. So this is how I'm gonna do it. I've got my scale here, and I haven't made applesauce in a while, so I have to kind of remember how my workflow is. I'm gonna grab a cutting board. I think we're gonna work right here on my kitchen sink. See, that feels sturdy. Got it on pounds. This pot is gonna be way too heavy. This is what I wanna make my applesauce in. And I think what I'm gonna do is grab another bowl, put this on here, zero this out, and I'm just gonna start peeling. Now the recipe in my canning book says to peel and chop the apples and core them before you weigh them. And I'm gonna do that. I was thinking I might skip the peeling part and I would just run all of this through my food mill. But I feel like I remember that I like the texture better if I take the time to peel it first. So that's what I'm gonna do. This is gonna make quite a mess in my kitchen. I did clean my kitchen prior to this, but That's just so that I could be able to think a little bit better. I can always kind of focus in my kitchen better when I have a clean kitchen. So we need 24 pounds of apples. I don't even know if this is 24 pounds. Right now I have 5 ounces. That one apple was 5 ounces. So just spend the time in the kitchen with me. We're gonna see how far we get. We have a lot more apples out there. This is just the first harvest. Applesauce we eat as a snack. I do buy applesauce pouches, but we try to only use those when we are on the go. I obviously don't take a canned jar of home canned applesauce to the zoo with me or something like that. I guess I could, but I don't. Okay, 2 apples is 11 ounces. That is exactly 6 pounds right there. And that took me 15 minutes to peel 6 pounds of apples. That's really good to know because that will give me kind of a guide on how long this is going to take me. This is going to take me a while. For reference, it is 1:09 right now. We're going to be at this probably all day. I've got 6 pounds here. So what I'll do, basically I will weigh it out, but I know that 1 full bowl is 6 pounds. I want to do a double batch, so I need 24 pounds in here. I do not want this to scorch. And I'm wearing gloves just because I'm gonna be in water a lot and I have eczema on my hands and that will bother my hands long term. So I'm wearing gloves just because of that. I'm referencing my canning cookbook, and this applesauce is optional to use sugar or not, but you do need to add some water to this. I like to follow canning techniques so that I know that I have a safe product on my pantry shelf. And I am going to use, instead of water, some apple juice to just get some moisture on the bottom of this so it doesn't scorch. This is what we're gonna use in our apple cider apple butter. And so I think it'll be just fine in my, oh my goodness, this smells so good, in my applesauce. I've been making applesauce since I was a kid, and I usually don't sweeten it with anything other than a little bit of apple juice. I probably put about 3 cups in there. I'm gonna let that just cook away over there while I continue to peel many, many, many more pounds of apples. I know I will need more apples than this. I'm trying to make sure I get a good mix of all the different types of apples. so that you get a complex flavor. I've been making applesauce since I was a little kid. There is an apple festival in Portland every October at the Portland Nursery on like 50th and Stark. If you know anything about Portland, there's a really cool local nursery there, and they hold an apple festival every year. And we would usually go there for my mom's birthday. And what they do is they have probably 100 different varieties of apples there, and you can do apple tastings, and they have worksheets and things with what each apple variety is good for. If you don't know, Washington and Oregon grow the majority of this nation's apples. And so they bring in all these fresh apples, all these different varieties. You get to taste them all, and then they have them for sale. And since I was a little kid, my mom would go and I would go, and we would just get probably 10 or 15 varieties of apples and mix them together and make applesauce with it and freeze it. And it was incredibly delicious. My mom is not a canner. I started canning because I needed my freezer space for when I would purchase half a cow or a quarter of a cow from a local farmer. And I like canned applesauce just as much as I like frozen applesauce. So I've started canning it. But what we found is to get the best applesauce, using a variety of apples usually makes for a better applesauce. So what my mom used to do when I was like in high school and I started going to school, because I was homeschooled up until high school, is she would freeze it in these little, they probably were 8-ounce containers. And then I would put that in my lunchbox, and that would be my ice pack. And by the time lunch came around, it would usually be 3/4 of the way thawed. So it was like this really cold, icy applesauce in my lunch. And it was just so delicious. So I've always loved applesauce my whole life. One of my favorite ways to eat applesauce is actually to put it on waffles and pancakes with butter or toast. I love applesauce and buttered toast. Oh, so good. Just plain applesauce, not necessarily apple butter, just good old applesauce. I did want to mention, this apple cider that we added in here is not apple juice. This is apple cider. And this apple cider, I actually sent Josh to the grocery store this morning for me to pick it up. It is from Hood River, Oregon, which is where the majority of apples are grown in Oregon. Hood River is like this huge apple orchard area. And I thought that that was cool that he was able to find some local apple cider to go into this, because these are obviously local apples that I'm making this apple butter, apple cider, and hopefully apple turnovers with today. I just stirred my apples because the juice is starting to boil. I'm going to keep a really close eye on that pot, because the last thing I want is for that pot to scorch. I have scorched applesauce before, and it's devastating because it takes so long to peel apples. So I'm going to keep a close eye on that. I just called Josh. Josh is having a busy computer work day today, and he is going to take a second to go pick one more basket of apples, because I'm actually getting through these apples relatively quickly. And so I would like to keep peeling apples. So if he can go pick another basket for me while I continue to peel apples, that will be huge time saver for me. Some of them have bad spots. All you have to do is cut that away. So this right here is 1 recipe's worth of applesauce. Josh just came in and brought another whole basket. I have all the apples that I picked, peeled, and chopped in there. I think what I'm gonna do, he needs this basket so we can go harvest more. He just wanted to clarify what quality of apple he wanted me to pick for him. So he's giving an apple to the chickens because there was one that was kind of a no-go. So I have 12 pounds of apples in my pot cooking away. I have 4 pounds here. I think what I'm gonna do is a 1.5 batch of applesauce and then a double batch. Do you like apple butter?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna do, would you prefer more applesauce or more apple butter?
Probably sauce.
Okay.
What's the use for butter? Like on sandwiches and stuff?
Yeah, or toast, buttered toast.
Does it, probably sauce.
More sauce, okay. So I'm gonna do, I will go ahead and do the double batch of sauce, a single batch of apple butter, and then we'll get going on the pies. Because I know I wanna make, I'm for sure gonna make a lot of apple pie crust or turnover crust, rough puff pastry crust, whatever you wanna call it. And then we'll make quite a few pies today. That's the goal. I got another 6 pounds done in the pot. So right now we are at 1.5 recipes right here. I would like to get to 2. Oop, that one, I left a little bit more peel on there than I'd like. And on this one, pull those out, and cut that off. It smells so good in here. Oh my goodness, it smells incredible. Josh just brought me another whole basket of apples. And I want to get some of these in this applesauce because this is a different variety than what he brought me last time. So I'm gonna get this dumped into here. I've got 3 more pounds I need to peel and chop to have a double batch of applesauce in that big stock pot. Every few minutes or so, I've been coming over here and stirring it because I don't want it to scorch on the bottom. And I think it needs a little more liquid. So I'm gonna pour more of this apple cider in there. And obviously we're gonna taste it. If we can avoid adding any sugar to this and just sweetening it with the apple cider, that would be great. We do need to add some lemon juice to make it safe for canning, but we'll add that later. That's why we have to weigh this out so we know how much lemon juice to add. And Josh wanted me to let you know that we do have, I have an electric peeler that I can attach to my KitchenAid, but for some reason this just seems easier to me today. I don't know why. It probably would be faster. He's gonna come down and help me in just a little bit. He's done picking apples, but he's got to finish a couple things up before he can come help me. And so if he gets put on the task of peeling, I'm sure he's going to pull the electric one out. But this just seemed easier to me. I'm washing up some of these pink apples. This might be the exact amount of apples we need for these projects. I only need 3 more pounds for the applesauce. Look how beautiful. It's like the perfect apple. We've eaten a lot of these apples fresh, just when we're outside in the evenings as kind of like an evening snack slash dessert, which has been really fun to do. It's kind of one of our favorite things to do as a family, is to go out, whatever season it is, whether it's raspberry season or blueberry season. Before the apples were coming in, we were picking wild blackberries and eating wild blackberries after dinner on our kind of like evening strolls. A lot of wild blackberries around here. I do have my oven preheating to 350 because we are going to make a quick snack so that it'll be ready when Josh is able to come down here and help. And I would like a little pick-me-up to keep me motivated on this big apple processing day. But I want to get these last 3 pounds peeled and into the pot so we have one project kind of ready to go. That right there is 6 more pounds of apples. These apples are by far the least buggy apples I've ever grown. They are sweet, they are delicious. I am so excited about this applesauce. It's crunchy. I have my pot on a medium low because I want this to cook low and slow. I do not want it to scorch. And I'm gonna stir it a lot. We've got 2 more big projects we've got to get started. But before we do that, we are gonna make a little snack. And I wanna thank today's sponsor, Wild Grain, for sponsoring today's video. I have been ordering Wild Grain for the past 3 months. This last box I just got is the first box that they sent me. I've been using their products for 3 months now, going on 4. And so when they offered to sponsor a video, I was super excited because I have been using and loving their products. If you are new to Wild Grain, they are an online subscription delivery service. They specialize in pastries, pastas, and sourdough breads. And what I have been ordering personally from them quite a bit have been their sourdough bagels and English muffins. Their brioche hamburger buns are fantastic. And they sent me, in this box that I just got, a bunch of fun things that I have never ordered personally. I have always done a build your own box, and you can completely customize your box. This box featured a ton of their beautiful seasonal baked goods, and I can't wait to try one of them out with you all today. The reason I have been loving this is you can get convenient, fresh sourdough, slow fermented baked goods, cooked, ready to go in less than 25 minutes with most of their things and no mess. And you all know that I am not a big sourdough baker, and so this has been a huge convenient thing for me and my family. So what we're going to make today, because it feels appropriate, is their apple cider donuts. And it looks like there is a perforated area right here that I can go ahead and pull this off. There's 6 donuts in this particular box. I'm gonna get these on a baking sheet with some parchment paper. My oven is preheated to 350 degrees, and we are going to bake them for 5 to 8 minutes. And this is going to be our afternoon snack. I've got a pot of coffee on, so we will enjoy this with a hot cup of coffee. Now, depending on your oven, it might take 5 minutes for these to cook, it might take 8. So I'm going to set my timer for 5, check on them, and then we might pull them out at 8. You all know I love to bake and do a lot of cooking, but especially this time of year, I have needed a little help when it comes to bread products. So wild grain has definitely been coming in handy. And I cannot wait to sit down with Josh and the rest of my family and have a donut. That sounds like just what we need to get us through the rest of the day. So while those are baking though, I'm not just gonna sit here. I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna get out my food processor because we're gonna be making a whole lot of pastry dough for the apples that are going to be going into apple turnovers or apple hand pies or apple Pop-Tarts. If you call it a Pop-Tart, you can eat it for breakfast, right? Most of the time when I make really quick and easy Pop-Tarts or hand pies, I am using homemade apple butter or jam. But because we have so many apples, I am gonna go through the effort of making like an apple pie filling with chunky apples. Apple pie is one of Josh's favorite desserts. My timer just went off. They've been in here for about 6 minutes. I've been kind of getting some other stuff out and ready to go while these have been cooking. I think I'm gonna give them about 1.5 minutes longer. And then I called Josh and I said, come on down if you want a fresh donut. It smells like apple churros in here. Absolutely incredible. Now these do need to cool on the rack for just a couple minutes before we dig into them. You ready to try a donut?
Yeah, they look great.
They're gonna be super hot. You wanna grab one?
They smell really good.
They smell like a churro almost.
So you just took this straight out of the freezer?
Yep, straight out of the freezer, right on here into the oven for about 6.5 minutes.
Great.
Cheers.
Cheers. That's good. There's like cinnamon on the outside.
It's like
cinnamon and sugar.
Perfectly sweet, but not over sweet.
Yeah, I would say it's not too sweet. Very good.
Josh has a few more emails he needs to get through. You want to take 1 or 2 of these up, and there is some coffee there if you want.
That'd be a good idea.
And then he's coming down to help me peel the rest of the apples.
Perfect. That's really good.
These are apple.
I can tell.
Yeah. So Josh just took up 2 donuts. I'm gonna turn the oven off. We don't need this today because the pastries I'm gonna be baking are gonna go into the freezer. But I just wanted to thank Wild Grain for sponsoring today's video. If you wanna shop them, they will be the first link down in the description box. And don't forget to use code ACRE and you will get $30 off your first box and free croissants for life. Now that we have our donut treat, let's get back to work. I have put the lid on our applesauce because I want the top apples to soften. I have this on really low and I don't want it to scorch. I also pulled out a wooden spoon that has a flat bottom so I can really get the bottom and make sure there's no burning. And I also pulled out another pot so we can make our apple filling. But before we do that, we need to make our pastry. And I'm going to do a 50% fresh milled flour pie crust pastry and a 50% all-purpose flour pastry. So I'm gonna get my grain grinding right now. So I almost forgot because I haven't made pie crust with fresh milled flour that much. This flour coming out of the mill is pretty warm. And one of the keys to a good pastry is to work with cold ingredients. So a trick when working with fresh milled flour in pastry is to throw it in the refrigerator or freezer. So while this was grinding, this probably took about 4 or 5 minutes to grind. I've been peeling apples and we're gonna let our flour cool. And while that's cooling, we'll make our pie filling. Oh, Josh is here, perfect timing.
Where would you like me?
I would love for you to be peeling apples. So Josh is super excited to be peeling apples. I said that if you were coming down here to peel apples, you might want to set the KitchenAid up. You can do it however fancies you.
At this point, is that all the apples that we have left?
No.
Oh, there's one more.
Well, there's not way more, but there's a
Oh,
sink,
okay.
a sink full of them.
Well, I just feel bad saying that the KitchenAid at this juncture.
It's me work on these for, what time is it?
I did.
It's 2:40 now, so you all know I've been in here for an hour and 40 minutes-ish.
I did say I could set it up earlier, just for the record.
No, I didn't ask you to set that up. I asked you to set up the food mill.
Well, I could do that too.
I know, but
you don't want to use the.
I don't want to use the food mill because I'm following the recipe in the canning book, and it says that you need to start with peeled and chopped and cored apples. So the food mill, I would have put all the apples in the pot with all the skins and everything, and then run them through the food mill.
Food mill.
The tomato mill. You know how when we process tomatoes, we run it through that electric mill? That's
Well, we have a peeler though.
Yes.
I offered to set up the peeler earlier.
Yes, you did. He did.
Just for the record.
Yeah. I don't know. This just felt easier to me. So what I'm doing right now.
I might just, for kicks, I might set it up.
You can if you want to. Whatever you want to do. You might want to put shoes on because it might be a little bit wet here. Just to protect your socks. And just so can you hear me, Josh?
Yep.
So what I'm going to be working on is I have the applesauce completely going. If we get another 6 pounds of apples after, we're only going to do one recipe's worth of apple butter, which is 6 pounds. So what I'm doing is I'm starting the hand pies. So I'm making apple hand pies for the freezer. So, or Pop-Tarts or whatever you want to call them. I'm going to start working on the filling. So you just peel probably about 6 or 8 more apples, and I will put that in the apple pie filling. And then we need 6 pounds of peeled, cored apples for the apple butter.
Okay, so you need those 6 apples quickly.
Not quickly, because I have to work on those, but
Okay.
just.
I will go get the thing going.
Okay. He loves an electric appliance. I do too. For the 6 apples for the apple pie filling, let's see, they probably can just be peeled regular because that way I can cut them all to be the same size because they'll come out different from the electric mill. Does that make sense?
So you want me to just peel those?
Yeah.
But you don't have a peeler?
I do. It might be buried in those.
Oh my goodness.
In those peels.
You haven't been using just the knife?
No, I've been using a potato peeler. So what I've used apple butter for in the past, because Josh was asking me earlier what you'd use apple butter for, I've made hand pies and things like that using apple butter, where you just fill it with the already done apple butter. Do you remember that?
Yes.
He said yes, if you can't hear it. So I'm just gonna get these sliced up. It's probably good I'm doing this apple pie filling now too, because I really don't want this hot going into the hand pies. And that way we can get this going, let this cool off, and then I'll make the pastry. Perfect, thank you.
You did all these by hand?
Yeah.
Wow, that is dedication. You're not afraid of putting in some hard work, that's for sure.
Thanks, Boo.
I love that about you.
I told you it was gonna be a big project today.
And you did say up front the peeling was going to be the problem.
I did.
I almost don't want to set it up because then if it really works very well.
It's fine. Mentally, the hand peeler is where I was mentally at, so it's totally fine. For some reason, it felt like more energy to set the electric peeler up than just to start peeling. So I've got my pot here. Both of the pots that I'm using today are heavy bottom pots. They're not a super thin, they're not aluminum, they're stainless steel, 5-ply, heavy duty pots. If you had enamel cast iron, that would work really well. I'm using stainless steel today. But when you're working with something with high levels of sugar, like apples and apple cider, you are less likely to have something scorch on you if you use something that's a heavy bottom pot. And we're using all 3 different varieties of apples in these hand pies too. That'll just add different texture, different flavor. Because we're making hand pies, and hand pies aren't going to cook in the oven that long compared to a regular pie. When I make regular apple pies, I don't always pre-cook the apples, but for hand pies, I'm going to pre-cook the apples, just because I want to make sure that the apples are nice and tender in the time the pastry gets fully cooked. And Josh found my spiralizer, slicer.
Okay, so we got a bunch of attachments. I'm thinking it's this one because it has an apple on it and it looks kind of worn. So this one I think spiralizes without peeling.
Yeah, you definitely want to make sure.
And we want the one that peels. Although I don't see how this one would peel, but we'll find out.
Yeah.
Oh, I think you need this attachment on as well. That's this thing. So you have to have both. Well, that's what manuals are for, I suppose. Interesting. Okay, so that's the bottom, this is the top. Okay.
That was fast.
I think that's all that's needed. Can I go back there like this?
Yeah, I'll plug it in for you.
Okay, seems like that'll work. Press blade core into food for added stability. Okay, you could do that.
That's already been tared out, so you can put your slices in there.
Okay. Has it been tared?
It should. You can tear it now if you need to. It should be tared. We need 6 pounds for one recipe worth of
Well, I might as well take the whole thing over there.
apple butter.
All right, I guess we just start, huh?
Yep.
Maybe I'll soon see why this wasn't worth doing.
Well, probably what I would do is I would bring a ton of apples over.
Oh, I'm just gonna get one going here.
I'll just try it. It probably was worth doing. It was just a mental block for me for some reason.
I will say the peeling portion, maybe I went too fast.
Oh yeah, you don't want to go fast.
Because the peeling, actually no, this seems, okay, part of it didn't work. So I'll just have to pull off a bit.
While Josh was setting that up, I peeled probably 4 or 5 more apples just because I want to have more apple pie filling than
Was that
what
a
I
flex?
thought. No. No,
Can you
I was
cut
just,
the peel off of that?
yeah.
Because this is going into what?
This is going to apple butter. So it doesn't have to be perfect, but I don't want peels in it because I'm not going to run it through a food mill later.
Okay.
So what might be good is to have a paring knife so you can cut.
Yeah, I probably need my own knife.
Yeah.
Would be a good idea. We'll say the prod is rather,
So you have to take usually a paring knife and go.
okay,
Yep.
that makes sense.
Yep.
Not using my hands makes sense.
Yep. Yeah.
Trying not to stab
Maybe
my
that
hand
one.
also makes sense.
It's going to be the best one for you.
Okay. All right, I feel like we're almost set.
No, you probably will save a lot of time. I wasn't in a headspace to do that. Okay, my apple pie filling is ready to go on the stove.
If there's a little peel in this, is it the end of the world?
I would rather just compost it, like, just cut.
I'm gonna do my best, but I'm just wondering how particular I need to be. Like, do I need to get every little bit?
Well, we have so many apples, I would be more. Be careful, Boo.
Is this how you do it?
No, you don't want to ruin that knife, Boo. Let's see.
This seems risky.
Maybe use this paring knife because it's smaller. And usually I hold it up here like this. And
Yeah, okay.
And I go, this is a less precious knife.
Okay. Okay, I'll get a system down, I promise, at some point here. Okay. I don't think I need it as jammed in as I had it, probably too.
Probably not.
I'll go get it. Is also taking a decent amount of the apple off, but is that too much?
No, that's fine. Now we gotta cook this. I'm going to flavor this pretty simply. I'm gonna get some sugar in there. I do want it to be not crazy sweet, because this might be something on a Saturday morning I might pull out as a fun breakfast with some sausage and eggs, so I don't want it to be overly sweet. So I've got probably a half a cup of brown sugar in there. You could use white sugar. This is a dark brown sugar. Maybe I'll do one more spoonful. I'm also gonna add a half a cup of flour, vanilla, nutmeg, probably a whole teaspoon. I'm gonna add a tablespoon and a half of cinnamon. I'm gonna add like 2 teaspoons of salt. How's it going?
I don't know about this
removal. Do you like it?
I think just the removal is
questionable.
I'm not good at that part yet.
And a good chunk of butter. I might adjust this after I taste it. And I'm okay if these apples break up a little bit into smaller chunks. Totally fine with me if that happens. Josh, would you rather have more apple pies or apple butter?
I feel like we don't need that many pies.
Okay, then I'll just do this maybe.
I'm gonna have to go here for a second.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry.
For the applesauce, we have a double recipe in here. So we have 24 pounds of apples. I could add up to 6 cups of sugar, and I have to add 8 tablespoons of lemon juice. I'm not gonna add any sugar yet to it because I want it to be cooked down and I want to taste it before we add any sugar to it. Sugar is optional in the canning process of applesauce. I have this cooking super low. Sugar also helps as a color stabilizer. It's not necessary for the safety of the canning product, but I might add a little bit, we'll just see. I just tasted this. I'm gonna add 2 cups of sugar to start. Remember, this is a 24-pound pot worth of apples right here. Ooh, that's hot. Be careful when you stir it. We're gonna start with that. And now I think we can get going on our pastry. One of my best friend's mom made applesauce every year growing up too. And we would eat applesauce both at my house and at my friend's house. And my friend likes her applesauce heated up. I like my applesauce cold, icy, and crunchy. And my friend and I never could agree on how you were supposed to eat applesauce. She would always heat it up in the microwave. Oh my goodness. Okay. That now has the perfect balance of sweet and tart. It was kind of on the tart side. I'm not gonna add anything else until this is fully cooked, but wow, that's good. Let's check on these apples before we make the pastry. Time to make some pastry. Our flour has now cooled, so I'm going to make up this pie crust. I'm sure it's gonna be delicious and just fine. I'm gonna do 1 cup of fresh milled flour to 1.5 cups all-purpose flour. I can only ever get 1 recipe's worth of pie crust, which makes 2 pies, or 1 recipe makes a top and bottom pie crust in my processor. And then I have a big bowl here because I'm going to try to get 4, I would like to get 5 recipes, because if we don't use all this pastry, I can just put this pastry into the freezer. I've been trying to get a stock of homemade pie pastry in the freezer, but I have not been able to do that. So every time I want to make anything with a pie crust, I have to make the pie crust. And it's not hard to make pie crust, but there is something really nice about having it ready to go in your freezer. Okay, for every 2.5 cups of flour, about a tablespoon of sugar, teaspoon of salt. Mix that together. We're gonna add 1 cup of a high quality butter, or whatever your favorite butter is. And eventually a 1/2 cup of ice water. And what I'm gonna do is pop that into a bowl. And I'm just gonna keep going until I either run out of all-purpose flour or fresh milled flour. And then we'll turn all of this into pie crust at the same time. So if I put some of that butter back in here, that's fine, because it's all gonna be mixed together. Those were just a couple pieces of butter that were a little bit on the large side. So here's my butter. Here's my blade. 1, 2, 3. Sugar and salt. Now I'm gonna add the butter. I think I can probably get 5 recipes. We'll see. I've never done it this way before, so this is kind of an experiment. So I've decided that I'm not gonna make apple butter today. We are gonna get these 2 big projects done, and then the apples that Josh just used with the KitchenAid, those I can turn into apple pie. So if you wanna just stick those in that apple pie pot, oops. And
It's just 1.5 pounds.
perfect.
But it's gonna look different though.
That's okay.
Should I cut them in? Because I can cut.
Can you cut them in half?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be perfect. I'm trying to be realistic with the time and energy level. So Josh, I could still use your help though. If you want to just wash those apples and dry them really well and put them in the garage fridge, we will pick up the apple butter project a different day.
Okay.
Another thing, can you also take all the apple peels and cores and go ahead and just compost those? Mm-hmm. Thanks. I did unload the dishwasher this morning, so I can get all these dishes right into the dishwasher, which is awesome. I'll just put all of the compost right on here.
Okay.
I don't really want to give this to my chickens because there's a lot of apple seeds in here, and apple seeds are not good for chickens. So that's why this is just going to go straight into the compost. And I would put it in my food recycler, but clearly this is way too much to go into my food recycler, so I'll put a little bit in there. And then again, the rest of it will just go to compost. You might have to take 2 trips.
Okay. I'll figure it out.
I feel kind of bad. Josh set up the apple slicer and peeler, and then we're not really gonna use it because we're gonna just finish the projects here. But now he knows how to set it up. So when I go to make the apple butter, he can get that set up for me real quick, and then I will probably use it, because once he got on a roll, it was going a little bit faster than my method. I'm gonna get this counter clean so we can start turning this into pastry. I definitely do want to get some apple butter made because I like to give that as gifts too. And like I said, when I don't have fresh apples and I want to make like an apple pie or an apple hand pie or something like that, we like to use apple butter. So I'm gonna grab out another bowl because I think if I try to mix water into this whole thing of butter, flour, sugar, salt, it's gonna become hard to manage the water to flour and butter ratio. So I'm going to put some in a bowl and I'm going to make the dough in a little bit smaller of batches. So this is going to be for our hand pie, so I'm gonna pop this in the fridge, and then I'm gonna keep going. Here are all the apples that are going to go in the fridge for fresh eating and for potentially turning into apple butter. Josh is going to put those in the fridge for me. Our apple pie filling is done and it is perfect. So I'm just letting this cool a little bit. And our applesauce is cooking really low and slow. I don't even have it simmering because I'm worried it's gonna burn. So I'm just trying to cook it super, super low and slow. I'm gonna clean up the kitchen a little bit. I'm gonna give that apple pie filling some time to cool down and for my pastry to chill. So I'm just gonna get some of these items over here. Most of this can just go directly into the dishwasher. I think it'll fit.
I'm going to take this bowl to take these last few scraps.
Yeah, that sounds good. I'm going to keep this out because we're going to use this for rolling out our pastry. I'm going to grab out, let's see, I have one up here. I need to grab out a cookie sheet because we're going to flash freeze our pies. So we'll put our pies on there. I've got more dishes here that can go in the dishwasher. Josh is gonna taste the applesauce. It's crazy hot, so be careful.
See the steam coming up with some?
Yeah, that's,
You can actually see it.
that would burn.
What is moist in here?
Yeah, but I think that would burn. It's too hot.
Really good though. It's got
Good?
a good amount of tartness to it.
Yeah, good.
Which, I mean, it's
I
already
did
very
add-
sweet. Not very sweet, but it's tart enough to.
It balances well?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I did add a little bit of sugar.
Really good.
Good. Okay, good. Josh's mom, sometimes when we have family dinners at her house, we try to do a family dinner at Josh's mom's house once a month. And sometimes if she's doing like a roast or something, oh my goodness. I'll fix it. Then, Josh asked what happened. This is me knowing my limits, right?
You're talking about dinner at my mom's.
She'll ask me to bring applesauce. So I'm glad we're doing this applesauce here because we're almost out. The kitchen has been completely reset. Dishwasher's going, all the dishes are washed by hand. I'm gonna go ahead and throw away the garbage and then we can start rolling out our pie pastry. I think that was the perfect timing on that. Thanks, Josh, for your help. Okay, so this is just bubbling away here. I did turn it up a little bit and I put the lid back on. I like a smooth applesauce. I do not want a chunky applesauce, so this is gonna take a bit of time. I did take this wooden spoon and I've been kind of crushing the apples a little bit just to get them a little smaller so that they'll cook a little faster. But the flavor on this, I think, is one of the best applesauces I've ever made, so it's very good. I just went outside and came back inside, and let me tell you, it smells incredible in here. Absolutely incredible. So I'm gonna start crossing some things off my list just so I can feel more accomplished here. Harvest apples, done. Make 6 pie pastries, done. Some for the freezer, I wrote on here, some for apple turnovers, done. Can applesauce. I have not canned the applesauce. I'm gonna cross half that off because I've made the applesauce. Can apple butter. That, I'm just gonna go, shoop. I'm gonna write apple butter down here. That will go onto a different day's project. You can always turn applesauce into apple butter as well. Apple butter is basically just cooked down and heavily sweetened and heavily spiced applesauce. So that's that. So now what we need to do is make the turnovers, or whatever you want to call them. I'm kind of thinking they will be a quick sweet treat, like dessert. So a hand pie, I'm gonna call them, slash, I might even, like I said, make them for a breakfast with some bacon or sausage and have a homemade Pop-Tart. I did not wash this down at all because we're just gonna be using this to roll out pastry. A lot of this pastry is just gonna go in the fridge for later use. I did take my apple pie filling and I put it into this bowl because that stainless steel bowl that I had it in retains heat so well. These apples were not cooling off very fast. So I went ahead, put it in here and popped it in the fridge so that it can cool down a little bit faster for me. And this stuff smells so good. You could even just put that over some ice cream if you wanted, and that would be delicious. So I want to make these personal size. My flour out. I'm gonna pop this back in the fridge and I'm gonna roll one more out like that. I'm glad I'm working on desserts because my mother-in-law just texted and asked if I wanted to come over for dinner tonight because Josh's grandparents are in town from out of town, and she knows Josh golfs tonight. So I have the house to myself tonight, and I would rather go to her house and have dinner because we were just gonna have leftovers tonight. And I said, well, you know what? I can bring dessert. So that's gonna work out perfect. I still think even if I bring them dessert, we will still have plenty to put in the freezer. I actually am going to be catering, which is kind of funny. I'm actually just making the dinner for Josh's grandparents. It was their 60th wedding anniversary about a week and a half ago. And they came in town, and Josh's sister is in town from out of town this week. And so this week, you and I are cooking up a feast for a surprise 60th wedding anniversary for them. They don't know that yet. So that's gonna be kind of fun. I'm excited about that. These are the two huge projects we're doing this week. Apples and making dinner for their anniversary. The party's gonna be at my mother-in-law's house, and they're staying with my mother-in-law, so she asked if I would do it for two reasons. One, she knows that cooking is kind of what I do. And two, she didn't want to do a bunch of cooking and clue them in that it's their wedding anniversary. That's a huge birthday that everyone that's in town, not birthday, anniversary is going to be invited to. The 60th wedding anniversary is the, what is it, diamond wedding anniversary? So we have some decorations and things that I'm going to decorate the cake. I'm gonna try to make, well, I don't know if I should say. I have an idea of what I want to try to make for the dessert. I'm making the flavors that are their favorite. I'm actually gonna make a groom's cake and a bride cake because they have different favorite cakes. And I think if you've made it to your 60th wedding anniversary, you deserve whatever flavor you want. And if that means 2 cakes for the party, then that means 2 cakes for the party. Now these aren't gonna be perfectly uniform. These are just gonna be incredibly delicious. And because I'm gonna bring these over there, I'm gonna go ahead and just bake some of them up. So you will get to see what they look like. That's one crust. Technically, I think that's probably the equivalent of a top and bottom crust. I'm gonna preheat my oven because we're gonna bake some of these. It's already 418. So that tells you how long we've been at this. Now we have had breaks. There's been different times where I've had to stop and tend to my family and things like that. Oh my goodness, I just tasted this filling. So good. I'm certainly not going to win any awards with the look of my apple pies, but I think they're going to taste delicious. So that's what matters. I am going to put an egg wash on these. My oven is almost preheated, and I'm going to get a lot of these. I'm going to bring 4 of these over to my mother-in-law's house tonight for dessert. And the rest will go in my freezer. And this is one reason why I do love to have desserts prepped when I can, because if I had these prepped frozen, I could just bake them and bring them over to her house tonight. If I was invited and I wanted to bring a dessert, because these bake up beautifully from frozen. That's how I always bake them up. I don't put the egg wash on until right before I put them in the oven. That's why I wanted these apples to be pre-cooked, so that basically all we're really doing is cooking the pastry. Josh, I preheated the oven to 400. I think I wanted it at 375. Could you turn that down for me, please? Thanks. I think you're really gonna like these, Josh.
I think so too.
I wasn't gonna bake one. Josh is going golfing tonight, so I was only gonna make 4. Do you want me to make you one too?
Sure.
Okay.
Sounds good.
So I better bake up 6. And just for fun, not because you have to, but because I can, I'm gonna sprinkle a little sugar on them. I'm gonna try to move these just a little bit so I can get 2 more on here. This one is gonna bubble open. I know it. That's okay. I better check this. That could not have worked out any better. I used every single last bit of pie filling and every single bit of apple pie filling. We have the 6 in the oven, and I think we got 4, 8, 10, 11, wait, we got 4 per, so that'd be 4, 8, 16 total. 6 of them are in the oven. My dogs are asking to go out. Let me let them out. I'm filling up a pot for canning. These are, I'm gonna give them a minute longer. Look amazing, smell amazing, incredible. So I have the, what would 16 minus 6 be? 10. You can tell I'm getting a little tired because that simple math is hard. I probably didn't even do that math correctly. Right? 4, 8, 12, 16, 6 in the oven, that's 10. The other 10 are flash freezing. Super happy about having those in the freezer for a nice weekend brunch or to take to family. Dishwasher's going, dishes are that need to be washed by hand are washed by hand minus what I used to make the pies. I'm filling up this pot because we're gonna water bath can our applesauce. You can water bath can in any pot. This is a 30-quart pot that I'm gonna water bath can in. I have a lot more jars in case I need them. Oh no, my flat-bottomed wooden spoon. I have a really large one, but it's outside. It needs to be hand washed, and I just don't feel like hand washing that right now. That's designed for a 30-quart pot. I'm gonna get this out of there. Let's see if this spoon is big enough to get to the bottom. It is. This has been cooking since, what was it? I don't know, around 2 o'clock. It is now 5:06, and it is almost ready to jar up. I do want all the apples to be, you can see how molten it is. the apples to be, ooh, I should have an oven mitt on when I'm doing this, or I'm gonna turn it off for just a minute so it can stop bubbling. I don't want chunks. And I like when it cooks down and gets that really nice texture. That's the texture I like, so I'm willing to let this just cook away for hours and hours and hours till I get that really delicious texture. I've been mashing the apples, like there's a really big apple right there, up against the side to get a really, really fine texture. I took some of the applesauce out and I let it cool. It is the best applesauce I've ever made, by far. These are done. I'm gonna let these cool. Those are gonna be the perfect treat. Honestly, those are so big. 2 is enough. Sorry, 1 is enough for 2 people. Do you wanna taste this one more time? Sure. This is cool, it's not hot. And let me know if it needs to be sweetened at all.
I don't think so.
You don't think so? Okay.
It's not very sweet, but I don't know if you need more. I think it's perfect. It's pretty good.
I like that. I like that tartness.
Yeah.
It does have a sweet and tart. That's good. I think it'd be too sweet if we sweeten it. Yeah, okay, perfect. Thank you. I'm adding an extra step to the process. I want this to be silky smooth, the best texture it can be. I bought myself a food mill. I have the electric one, which we've been talking about, but I bought myself this manual one. I do not have in me to get out the big electric one, but this is why I wanted a handheld one, so that I could mill stuff super easily just on a whim. And I'm gonna mill all of this applesauce because I just want it to be the best and most delicious texture ever. And this is how we're gonna get it. So I just put a pot of water on here. I'm gonna get that warming up because that's gonna be hot applesauce going into jars. So I need that water hot. And I'm just gonna put this in my food mill. I thought about getting my immersion blender out. I just wanna make sure if there's any bits of skin, if I missed a seed, anything like that, I just want it to be as smooth as possible. If you don't have one of these canning ladles, they're amazing. That was a gift from one of you. I put this food mill on the finest setting. It came with 3, yes. Yep, no regrets. I can already see the applesauce coming through there. That's what I want. This is gonna take some time, but I've got some time. I've already gone through the effort of cooking this down for 4-something hours. I might as well just take this little extra step here and get the best, most delicious, silky smooth applesauce I can get. I don't need to add any more lemon juice or anything. We already did that because we weighed everything out. We can just go straight from, make sure I'm going the right way. Yeah. Do I want it to be that fine? I don't know. Let's taste it. It's gonna be so hot, I have to let it cool. That looks pretty good. That is so good. Now I'm gonna taste it from the top. Maybe I just take an immersion blender to it. I like the texture better before I food mill it. We're not food milling it. Okay. I'll get all that applesauce off there. I think what I'm gonna do, instead of food milling it, I'm gonna immersion blender it. Okay. That's good. I think that's good right there. I just saved myself a half an hour running this all through the food mill, I think. Okay, I like that texture. It's kind of a mix between the food mill and what we had before. So this is the texture we have now. We're really happy with that. If you like it chunkier, you can definitely leave it chunkier. One beauty about wiping the rims is you can go around and see if there's any chips, and there's a chip in this jar. So I'm gonna dump the contents of this into another jar, but that would not have sealed that way. So I'm glad I went ahead and did that. Doesn't happen very often where I find a chipped one, but every so often I do. In this pot, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 11 pints. This has to process at my elevation and my timing schedule for every elevation is, not every, but different elevations are different. So you have to look your times, your elevation up, 20 minutes. So this has to come to a full boil. Let it boil for 20 minutes. I'll cut the heat, let it sit for about 10, 15. I will take it out and I will put it on a nice dry, clean towel. I have 2, 4, 5 pints still jarred up. I'm gonna get the rest of the applesauce that is in this pot in jars, and then I will wash this pot out. And on my big, fast burner, I probably have another 10 or so pints to go in here. This made way more applesauce than I was anticipating, and I'm totally thrilled with it. It's probably one of the best applesauces I've ever made, and I just cannot wait to be able to enjoy this all fall, winter, and spring. And applesauce has quickly become a more popular thing in my household, so I'm here for it. It's a good day. I am tired. It is 5:45. I probably won't be heading down to my mother-in-law's house for probably, I'm gonna say, another hour. It's gonna take probably, even though it only technically has to boil for 20 minutes, an hour for me to get all these jarred up, get this pot going, bring it up to a boil, and then let it cool. I will bring those desserts over to my mother-in-law's. I'm really glad that we got done today, thrilled with it. It's okay if you don't get everything on your list. It can always be added to tomorrow's list. Feels good. So I will show you what all this looks like once it comes out of the canner. You will see just exactly how much we ended up getting today. We have more projects we can still do, which is always a good thing. I really liked adding that juice to this. I think that's kind of what helped make it so delicious. And you do not have to have your own apple trees to do this. This is the perfect time if you want to put some applesauce up or put some apple pies up in your freezer. Even if apples don't grow where you live, they are in season now, so usually you can get them for a good price, which is fantastic. And you don't have to be a canner to put it up either. For years and years and years growing up, we froze it. and that was delicious. It worked great. Maybe when my son starts packing a lunch to school, I will start freezing some again, and they will become ice packs because that always worked really well for me, and I enjoyed having it. So I will show you what all this looks like. Oh, I'm almost done. I've got to scrape this. There's probably 1 or 2 jars worth of applesauce just on the sides of this huge pot alone, which I don't want to waste any of it. This was a labor of love today. What time did we start? You know, I don't remember. Just remember, I was not in the kitchen this whole time. There were times where I did have to stop and, you know, do other things, but this was a long day in the kitchen, and I enjoyed it. I enjoy doing things like this, and I'm grateful that you're here to kind of follow along the journey. We use this applesauce in recipes too. We don't just use it to eat as like a side. I use it in apple breads and things like that. So I will see you back tomorrow when you can see all of these cooled. And oh yeah, there's definitely probably 2 to 3 jars worth of applesauce on the side of this. Once I get the second canner going, I need to go change because I have applesauce and flour all over me before I head to my mother-in-law's tonight. I officially got all of the applesauce in both of those pots. I'm very happy about that. See you in the morning. It is the next morning, and I am currently working on cleaning the stove. I just unloaded and loaded the dishwasher. I need to get all of these dishes washed by hand, but my son just went down for a nap, and so I'm actually going to run outside, do some harvesting, and I'm about to bake a cake for tomorrow's surprise 60th wedding anniversary for Josh's grandparents. But I wanted to give you an update on this applesauce. We have already gone through 1.5 pints. It is so good. And I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22 pints here where they sealed. One of my jars didn't seal, so I popped that in the fridge. So we ended up getting 24, 25, 26 and a half pints from 24 pounds of apples. I'm happy with that. I don't know if I'm gonna turn the rest of those apples into apple butter. I might wanna make more applesauce doing it the exact same way because this stuff is so good. This just by itself on buttered toast, you don't even need apple butter. So good. I see a package just delivered. My clothes do not fit right now. If you're new, I am 22 weeks pregnant tomorrow, and I just ordered some new clothes, and I see they are here. But before I can have fun trying those on, I kind of want to finish getting this kitchen cleaned up, bake a cake, and do some harvesting while I have about 1.5 to 2 hours of time uninterrupted. Very happy with this. If you enjoyed seeing how I process these apples, or if you're new and you enjoy this type of content, consider subscribing. If you've been here before, thank you. Let me pop some videos here you can go enjoy between now and my next upload. I see, just gonna look to see if it is yes, it looks like a box of clothes. I'm really excited. I can tell my clothes are not fitting, well, stuff like this, shorts, the zippy, work just fine. But things like jeans and t-shirts don't work. So, all right, I will see you next time. Let me pop some videos here. You can go enjoy between now and my next upload. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and I can't wait to see you next time. Bye, friend.